So hello. So what we're doing here is continuing our discussion on whatever we stopped at, which was linear lines. Which we'll put the example question here. As always, we'll have some questions from the previous ones to actually implement and make sure they learn everything from the previous. So over here we have a few of them. I'm thinking of taking a picture of that and moving it over somewhere because I don't think it's needed over there. What I mean by that is I think it needs a lot more space. Therefore, I'm thinking of putting that over here. And this is something else that we'll discuss later. And over here, we'll delete this. So that's my question so far. This question is has most likely will be used with this because that makes everything so much easier. Hopefully. All right. Next thing we do is because it's a new concept, you probably need something here. Otherwise, the students will get confused because they have no idea what they're doing. So here. So why don't we do square root of something? I'll think of something right now and I'll come back to you. So I decided to do this instead. Okay. So making this a 20. Well, maybe I should make it a bigger number. 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 3 maybe. And another 3. So 180. Okay. 180. That sounds like a good number. Then we'll just do shift. Oh, let me pause that for a second so I can actually. So there's an example question there. But honestly, the reason I'm doing this is because there's multiple ways. For example, if I do this one over here, there's 54, and then we'll go down to 2. And I would actually recommend getting a calculator here because that's making it so much easier. And as you can clearly see, there's 3 over here, which is 3 multiplied by 2, which is 6, which is square root of 3. There's the answer. So yeah, so it's possible, it's doable. Honestly, there you should be taught. You should tell them about this beforehand. But there's some example question because it's something new and they probably don't know about it. So I'm deleting one of those questions off the bat and making actually Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. I'll make that example question over there because there's more than one way to solve a question, right? So let me finish this question and I'll come back. Okay, that was not a good example. So this one sounds slightly better. So let me just do this real quick. As I said, there's multiple ways to answer a question, and this is one of the ways. That should do a trick. Enough explanation for them to understand what to do for these two questions over here. Now the graphing portion, which doesn't make any sense until you realize that I'm doing this to them. Let me get that. A and B axis should be fine. Oh wait a second. Oh wait a second. I don't think they ever graphed a polynomial before. Oh, okay then. No, that's fine. It's going to just be divided by 2. Never mind. So it's going to be a linear line, and it's learning that there could be other variables other than y and x to be formed, and could be that. Okay, so actually I have to say find the um, uh, no graph this equation. But honestly, I don't think I need to write that because at this point, if they're taught enough that they should recognize that if you got taught enough, yeah, I don't know. That should be good enough. This one is a little iffy. I should wrote something else. I should write simplify the roots. By the roots. Honestly, all these small changes will be shown later. By that I mean usually when I do these questions, I do this part first, and later on I do find the distance and all this later. Yeah, so should be fine. Anyway, that's the starting base. Right now we have a little bit more space over here, but I think this portion over here would take up majority of the room because that I'm pretty sure would need that unless you have actually, I don't know. I had to test that out. I haven't tested that at all, so we'll have to see. And actually, to make it easier for the for whoever's doing this. I think it's oh, I can't change. I forgot. Actually, I think that's fine. They just have to realize they could use distributed property with the polynomial, which I don't think they will. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Anyways, the next thing we'll do is the actual answer sheet of this thing. All right, so the answer sheet for this thing. All right, so it's already labeled. The axes are already labeled. So the first thing we have to do is get the red. All right. Maybe I'll make it clearer with the actual typing. Let me do this. Text. Can I make the color red here? No, I can't. Okay, never mind. So I decided probably best to use this then. So b minus 10. And after that would be, let me just save that. Oh, that doesn't work really well. Okay, that actually doesn't really work that well. Let me just change that again. Okay, that works, right? And you do have to tell them that sometimes that x and y could be interchangeable with other variables because that's kind of how math works. Now, this graph is set so there's actually no negative here, but we do know that this intercept's going to be here, -5. But since the graph doesn't show anything of that sort that's already pre-made, we just have to make the graph look real. And in that sense, it cannot be at 0. And seeing that we should graph it, let's just plug in another y over here once again. So x as 0, so we can find the intercept on this axis, right? So if a is 0, we'll have to plus it by 5, and then that'll be multiplied by 5, so it'll be 10. So somewhere over here, you mark that as 10, and then you would have to do something like this. Doesn't have to be accurate, and you can just do this. Okay, and then we can just say y over 1, so it's actually y over 2, which means I actually should make the graph a little bit more obvious because it's not obvious enough. Let's just fix that. So let's just make that a little obvious. So, oh, my mistake. Let's make that a little bit obvious. And then we could just do 1, that's 2. So we could also say 12, and that should be good. And that's scaled differently, but it should have worked as an explanation as to where this is. And if you really want to be technical with it, you could also show that in 12. You could also do this if you really want to. I don't think you have to do it, but it would be better. Your choice on that part. And this would be where again this is x of 10 over 0, and that would be good enough of an answer. Either way would be fine. You just have to graph 2 points and then just point out the triangle, and it's good. So this one is easy, 8. The hard one was supposed to be this one, which is supposed to be 254, right? Yeah, and do that again, 2 and a 27. That's a 39. And you get 6 over square root of 3. That should be the good answer there. And over here is the hardest one, which is why it's going to be worth little to no points because it's really hard, and you would probably, most people get it wrong. Realize there's no extra here. By that I mean extra questions I usually do. Now, because of that, I might actually change one of the question to an extra question there. That's fine, I'll do that later. Maybe I should have made this one the extra question there. That would have been a better idea than I thought. Okay, fair enough. Next time. For reference for next time. So for this one, what we need to do is first of all, that is not allowed to actually form a quadratic formula. So we have to do x minus 3 parentheses 5x plus 6 and then minus 1, and that equals 0. Yeah, and actually you would need the calculator. calculator allowed. Do, do. Because calculator needs to be allowed here. And I actually might want to change this question then because calculator should be allowed. Yeah. Anyway, with that out of the way, there's one here that we forget, and you might be saying I forgot about. No, I don't. You're probably already know I think, but we need to make sure this is here. So that's gonna be later. So I'm gonna keep that to the side. Actually, I'll just do multiply by 1 by 25 here. Not really that important anyways. I'm just a kid that loves making questions, as I said multiple times, like a crazy person. I'll finish this question and come back. Okay, as you can see, this is the clear equation over here that says minus 19, therefore. And then let's just get another color over here to cancel that out because I didn't do it earlier. And actually highlighting it might be better. Suited for that. Yeah, that's actually way better. All right, next thing we do, I mean, you probably already know it. Let me just find all the A's, B, C. So A, B, and C, right? So let's just get this. So A equals 5, B equals -9, C equals -19. And then we just plug into equation that you later on have to memorize. But for now, we're going to plug it in. And then that will be the answer because it's just finding x. 25 doesn't matter when to plug 25. Therefore, there could be two answers, but we'll see what happens with the equation. Or there could be no answer because there could be a negative inside the square root. Then there would be no real answers and it would be proper, which in this case, we'll just say zero real answers. So I got an answer through the calculator. Because you would need a calculator. Don't joke yourself. This definitely needs a calculator. And I'm not a crazy person that would actually not use a calculator for this question because it would take forever. And honestly, it would take forever, and I don't have the time to deal with that. So, in honestly, there's two answers to this question. So let me just get the second one because I only got the first one, which is like -3.2, I believe. So the two answers I got was 1.3. The two answers I got was 1.312 and negative 3.207. And I go to the three digits. You go farther if you want. And I don't think I rounded correctly. Yeah, you have to round this up always, and you should tell your students that anyways. But yeah, and you won't be dark points anyways. But yeah. And I think there's a clause here that I didn't talk about. So over here, I said if everything is wrong, give 0.57. But yeah, that's fine because that's like a C in that clause, anyways. And right now, anyways. So how would I do this? Let me count all the points up, and I'll give it to you. +2 over there. It doesn't matter how he gets it. Just show the graph, and you're good enough. If you don't have some way to indicate that it's 10 and 12 or something like that, or some kind of, no, the slope is correct. It doesn't have to be 10 or 12, but that's just the easiest one. It could have been, let me just do another example over here. It could have been 14, and it could have been this graph to the point over here. It doesn't matter which one, as long as it shows us 2, 1 over here with the, right, this portion over here is fine. It doesn't really matter, just saying. You don't even need to show that actually. You just have to show that this is correct. So I'm sorry, you don't need this thing to actually get 2 points. So doesn't matter. You get that. So next one, let me get that over here. This is +1 because honestly that's something we did previously. And this one is actually +3 because the main content of this section. The last one over here won't be worth much. It'd be a plus 1. Actually, it'll be plus 1. Because, I mean, actually, that sounds horrible. So here's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be +1 for the for just setting it up. So for just setting this thing up over here, it'll be +1. But there's extra. if you want to go extra and give them more points than if they get the right answer. So this setup over here is just basically what it, you know, and you don't even need to go that far. You just need over here to do it. But everything beyond here is extra. So this is like +3, and it's extra and something that the student can get wrong, and I think it'll be fine. So let's just say the minimum and the maximum. So let's just see. The hardest part of this whole thing is find the min. Because I said to give 0.7 for minimum trial period. So the 100% would be how much? It would be 3 plus that 4, 4, sorry, 6, 7. So let me get this piece over here. Plus 7 would be max. 7 multiplied by 0.7 is about, I believe, something like 0.49, right? 4.9. Let me get the red sheet because you don't want to be in this situation. Red, 4.9. And then the max, because you go way beyond your current level to be in here. Let me just get the max, which is 3 more than this, so it's like plus 10. Plus, so this is 100% over here, 100%. This is beyond 100%. This is like 100 and something else. Anyways, that's my whole entire spiel on this section. That should be